What is going on, guys? It's your boy Big Dylan and welcome back to another Destiny What to Use in Weekly Heroic Strike guide. This is March the 21st to the 27th, so without further ado, let's just get straight into it. The modifiers this week we have Heroic, Arc Burn, Chaff and Catapult. So the two good ones this week are Catapult and Arc Burn. So let's just get straight into some of the weapons that I'd recommend using this week. Starting off with the primaries, obviously Zala Supercell is very highly rated this week. It has Arc Burn on it, so you're going to be dealing more damage just straight off the rip because it has Arc on. Definitely recommend using this if you have it. Now if you don't have the Zala Supercell, your next best bet in my opinion would be to use something like a high impact hand cannon or a high impact scout rifle, as you're going to be getting more damage off per shot. That's just my recommendation, but again, any primary is usable as it is, just PvE. So, but definitely use Zala if you have it. For special weapons, pretty simple. Just use something that has Arc Burn on it. So I've got this Raid Sniper here, got another Arc Sniper Rifle, Arc Shotgun Matador. I've also got the Wormwood. You could use something like the Exotic Plan C if you wanted. I think the Patience and Time also has Arc Burn on it. So I mean, you've got a few possibilities for that. As far as heavies go, again, something with Arc Burn on. I have a rocket launcher. Yeah, I've got my legendary Iron Banner machine gun. Thunderlord's also absolutely amazing, really good for damage. And also the exotic sword Bolt Caster, great for long distance engagements if you just want to quickly zap, a couple of captains at long range with this. So that's pretty much it for the weapons. As far as the Warlocks go, you're going to be wanting to use your Stormcaller subclass. This is what I'm running, especially with Catapult being on this week. I like to run Storm Grenades with Arc Web right at the end, so basically when enemies are damaged by my grenades, it chains lightning to all the other enemies surrounding them and deals damage. And that can pick you up quite a lot more kills. That's just my recommendation though. I like to use Transcendence on so I can just be in my super for about 10 hours. Bit of an exaggeration there, but you get the picture. Superconductor, just so we get more range on our super. Landfall, we don't need that because we are using the Impossible machines. Now, if you don't want to use Impossible machines, especially with a recent Landfall nerf, you could actually go for a little bit more of a survivability if you wanted to use something like the Ram. Also, the Apotheosis Veil is actually really fucking good, so you can actually get your health back on super activation, especially with it being Arc Burn this week. If you're going up against a Fallen, you can regen all your health, so it's actually really nice to have that at times. But I mean, that's pretty much it for the Warlocks. Let's move on to the Hunters now. So for the Hunters, we've got quite a few options this week. So obviously, with it being Arc Burn, you could run your Blade Dancer. Blade Dancer as a whole is an okay subclass, but in my opinion, it's just not great for PvE. I never use Blade no matter what, just because it's really squishy. Getting up close and personal with Blade at times can be extremely risky, and I just don't really like that risk of me possibly dying. I mean, you could use Blade if you wanted to. If you want to use the Shinobi's Vow Gauntlets, so you get an extra skip grenade, especially with Catapult being on this week, that could be a more than viable option if you just want to sit at the back of the map and spam skip grenades. But when it comes to your super, you're probably going to end up dying or be very close to death. So my option this week would be to run Night Stalker. Night Stalker, as I've said before, I'll say it again, is by far the best hunter subclass for PvE in the game. Absolutely phenomenal. Not only does it benefit you, but it benefits your teammates as well by giving them a huge damage boost, and you're also making orbs of light for your teammates with Light of the Pack. I'd also slap on Predator on there as well, so you get extra Shadow Shot cooldown, and if you actually accidentally shoot your tether a little bit too early, it'll also just stick to the surface and wait for the enemies to spawn. Vanishing Smoke on there just in case as well, in case we need to go invis to go get a teammate's revive. Black Hole, the obvious choice for the super. I like to use max intellect and discipline on my hunter for PvE on my Night Stalker. Exotics, as far as they go, I mean, I like to use Bones just because I like the extra movement. There's not really any other hunter exotics for the Night Stalker. I suppose you could go for the double smoke grenade gauntlets, but 2 invis smokes just aren't really that necessary in my opinion. So I prefer the Bones just so I can speedrun things a little bit easier. But that is pretty much it for the Hunters. Let's move on to the Titans. So again, last but not least, for the Titans, we've got a few possibilities. The obvious choice is going to be your striker. For PvE, I usually like to run something like this. Mainly, lightning grenades are really good in PvE. Aftermath, just so we can leave the, the damage on the floor. Aftershocks is also really great, so we get the extra duration on Aftermath and our lightning grenades. So that's creates a really deadly combination. As far as exotics go, you could actually use the Armamentarium, so you have 2 lightning grenades. But if you're like me and you love Twilight Garrison way too much, then that's not an option, but it is still there if you want it. As far as Titan exotic helmets go, I just don't really favour them that high in PvE. Definitely recommend Armamentarium if you've got it, or Twilight Garrison if you know how to Titanscape. The Peregrine Greaves you could use, but again, it's going to be a little bit risky getting up close and personal. You may die pretty quickly, so I wouldn't recommend it. Armamentarium for me would be the clear option here. Now if you don't want to use Striker, you want to sort of support your team a little bit more, maybe go with Defender, give your teammates weapons of light. I think this is set up wrong, so I'll quickly just check it real quick. But this is usually what I like to use in PvE. This is my usual setup for Defender Titan. Mainly, I will use Defender if I'm running with a couple of buddies of mine. I'll never really use it if I'm playing solo, just because I feel like the people I'm playing with never really know how to use it. They're never really either sniping to get the most benefit out of it. So for me, I would just go with Striker because it's an amazing subclass anyway. But anyway guys, hopefully this gives you an idea on what to use this week. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching guys, and peace.